everyone, and welcome to the Fringe North podcast. My name is Caitlin Townsend. My pronouns are she and her, and I am the project coordinator for this year's festival. And I have with me here today Eric. Eric, would you like to take some time to introduce yourself and just speak a little bit to what your submission for the festival is this year?
Sure. Hey, I'm Eric Andrews. I guess I'm most commonly a stand-up comedian, so the Fringe world is still rather new to me. This is only my second Fringe that I've ever really done. So yeah, and I kind of created this show called Deep Dive into My Mom's Facebook.
That sounds exciting. So, how did this project come to be, and what led to the choice to focus on your mom's Facebook for this project?
Oh, great question. Um, I I mean, I guess we all have had a lot of time at home in the last little bit. So I've just kind of like found myself on the internet a lot more than I used to be, and I was just scrolling through Facebook, and I I started to notice like a trend in what my mom was posting. So I was like, oh, this is strange, and then I like kind of went through all of these. She was doing a lot of online quizzes where she was finding out about herself, or you might what a quiz like what's your favorite color, and Dale, you love blue. So I found she did a lot of these, and then I started to look back in her history on her Facebook page and found that they went back like 9 years. She's been doing these type of quizzes, and yeah, I thought it was really funny. And one night I kind of just like had my partner here, and I put it up on our screen, and I was like, look at this quiz, like this is crazy, and just like reading it to her, and then like scrolled to the next, and like just kept going. And I was like, oh man, maybe this could be something.
Well, that's exciting.
Because we were just having a good time reading them.
That's awesome. Yeah. So how does your mom feel about like being kind of like I guess the main star of your show in a sense?
That's a great question as well, because currently at the moment she doesn't have a clue about this project.
Okay.
I didn't tell her. I've been collecting this for over a year, kind of these quizzes, and kind of putting them together. So I didn't want to say anything to her in case it influenced her social media use.
Yeah, good call.
and make her self-conscious about this thing. My mom's super supportive of everything that I've kind of done creatively in my career, and I had my own podcast for like 5 years,
Nice.
where she was like a regular guest on it. She's very willing to be part of the show.
That's exciting.
So yeah, I hope it's not wrong that I haven't told her yet, but
No, I don't think so.
okay, you.
Yeah, especially like if it's going to change the trends as to what quizzes she was doing or whatnot, then it would change your results too, right? So
Yeah. I don't want to influence her.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she had a quiz there where it was like, this it's how many times are you gonna like have sex in November? And maybe she'll become self-conscious and not do that quiz, and we won't get to know.
Yeah. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh no.
You had mentioned that you did a podcast prior for 5 years, and so how long have you been in the comedic space, and what kind of sparked your whole journey with that?
Oh, I guess I've been doing stand-up for about 15 years. I started it when I was like 17 years old. I was like failing high school completely, and then I had a teacher be like, why don't you try stand-up? So I decided to like start going and watching stand-up comedy, and I went. I was in Brampton, and then I drove to Toronto every week to watch the amateur night at Yuck Yucks, and then eventually, like after 2 months of doing that, I was like, I'm gonna try it now. And it went poorly, but it ignites something in you and that's kind of what I got the bug for. And yeah, then that kind of sparked that journey there, where it's got a lot of ups and downs and successes and bumps, but it's constantly thrilling.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I think it's really common in the comedy space. When you first start out, you feel like it went bad, and then you kind of like get your bearings and you learn your own style of comedy, right? Because comedy is so different for each comedian, that like stepping into that is sort of that process where you kind of have to. It kind of has to go bad before it goes well in terms of making those choices as to what works for you.
Yeah, yeah, it's very interesting, and it's hard to say exactly how it works, I guess.
Mm,
Like I'm so bad talking about myself and this subject particularly. Like in my comedy, I'm a bit of a self what's it called when you put yourself down?
oh,
Yeah,
deprivation? Is that the word?
yeah,
What's that? Yeah,
self-deprecation.
yeah.
I'm self-deprecating in a way. So to even like lift myself up and be like, I'm great is very hard.
Mm, yeah.
I don't know if if you're an artist here or other artists, but it's very easy to focus on our negatives,
Yeah, for
um,
sure.
and then draw from that, which in my comedy, I feel like most of it comes from a negative, and I try to find the light in it.
Mm,
But sometimes you like to dig just a hole. Oh man, is this going well?
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that was a long pause. There's,
No, it's good. You actually froze, so I don't know how that's gonna work editing
oh,
wise,
thank God.
but um, but yeah. So in terms of like having been, I think you said 15 years you've been doing comedy for. So over the
Yeah.
course of those 15 years, do you feel like you've shifted as an artist in any way, or how you've grown or adapted your art, or has it stayed pretty consistent throughout?
Uh, yeah, I think there's a growing in it. Um, Initially, when I first started, I was extremely, extremely shy. Like to even do this wouldn't happen.
Mhm.
So there is a growth in just, I guess, being a person, which is very linked to kind of who we are on stage. Sometimes it feels just more of an amplified version of
Mhm.
who I am. And sometimes I dip a little bit more into my shy self, where now I know in the real world I can present myself. Oh, this is so much talking about myself. This is weird.
Oh, no, it's good.
Um, there is a growth to answer your question. There is a
Mhm.
growth. I feel different. It's changed a bit. I'm starting to just try to pull more from different medias,
Mm,
uh, as instead of just speaking. I'm not great with words, so I try to use as much of other forms of communication that I can to help me out on in my performance.
that's awesome. So what kinds of things do you integrate then, in order for that process to unfold?
Oh, yeah. So I guess in my last Fringe show, I integrated paintings,
Oh, cool.
where this here's an example of one
Thanks.
where I kind of tried to uh, have people find meaning in the painting themselves, and then I would eventually express what it would meant to me. Um, because I find it interesting where it's like with a painting, something like that, it doesn't have a meaning at all when you look at it, and you kind of attribute your own feelings to it.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that was like kind of that. What else? I I made this little guy. That's me. It's got my
Nice.
real hair on there.
Cool. That's awesome.
Uh, this is this is probably like a future project that I'm working on, but it's this kind of like forest kind of world. I haven't figured out how to quite use it yet, but So yeah, I'm just trying to find um, other ways to kind of lend itself to the craft that I've been spending, the last 15
Mhm.
years on.
Yeah, that's awesome, especially like because there's different learning styles too, right? And people engage with things different ways. So if you're not someone who's an audio individual, like having those props as part of the show is probably really beneficial for them because it allows them to engage with you in a different way than just through the audio.
Yeah, and I found that's the hardest thing with performing in this time, and I understand like we can only really do digital at the moment, but I really like try to have a connection with people,
Mhm.
and it's hard to do it through this screen.
Yeah.
Like you're very good, you're captivated here, like you got your eyes locked onto the screen, but I don't feel like I know you as well as I
Mhm.
would if you were sitting in front of me.
Yeah.
Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. And especially like in comedy, a lot of comedians, and maybe it's different for you, so you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like usually you feed off of the laughter of the audience too, right? And like when it's in a digital space, you don't really get that as strongly as like the energy that you get from being in the room and feeding off individuals' energy as you're performing. So how have you adapted to that shift now that it is digital and not always being able to hear audience laughter, like those different pieces.
I don't know if I have adapted, to be honest.
Oh,
I think it's like rewiring your brain a little bit to just believing what you think
mhm,
is funny, and then feeling like you have the confidence enough to convince people that thought is funny.
yeah.
So usually it's like through time, you'll test this joke, you'll be like, I think this is funny, you try it, no laughs, you're like, okay, maybe this isn't funny yet. And you just keep working, and until people start laughing. But we don't really get that luxury right now. So
Mhm.
it's just, yeah, I think it's more of a just believing in yourself.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Trusting your gut and like,
Yeah.
yeah, building up that confidence about it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you have that kind of thought when you get into these podcasts? Are you nervous ever?
Um,
You seem like
yeah.
you're not nervous at all.
I mean, it depends. I feel like we have good energy between us, so it's going really well. But it depends on the
Oh, okay.
individual because sometimes it's like if you're not flowing as well, like it's hard to be like, oh, how can I find a question that's going to allow that conversation to just naturally come?
Mm,
But yeah, I enjoy talking to people and I enjoy talking in general, so I'm
yeah.
fairly comfortable at this point.
When it's not a podcast and you're just in the real world, do you also enjoy talking to people?
I'm actually more shy in person. Yeah, it's on
I
the
thought
opposite.
so. I
Yep.
knew I I feel like I'm this very similar to you, where the structure of something makes it easier for me to communicate.
Yep. Yep.
Like, oh man, if I was doing a podcast, I'd have no qualms to like call somebody up on the phone, and be like, "Hey, I'm on a podcast. You want to talk right now?" But in my day, oh my, call somebody? No way.
Yeah, I feel that on a deep level. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because
What do you think that is?
I think it has a lot to do with like the different like structures and expectations, right? So I also work as like a life coach and I do like these podcasts for life coaching too. And when you're expected to take the reins, it's easier. But if you're like
Mm,
walking into a social situation where you're not really sure like where you fit into that puzzle, especially if it's with a new group of people, it's harder to know like when's it okay to jump into a conversation, when do you hold back, and like those different
see,
things that
it's
go.
a control thing.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Be here. You're in control. You're
Mhm.
being in control, and you hold all the cards. But
Yeah,
out there, oh no, anything could happen.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's scary.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Um,
So you would love to perform in a digital way.
yes, yes, I'm much more comfortable with film than like stage because you can like correct things too and refilm it and all those different
Oh, you're a
pieces.
perfectionist as well.
Yes, yes, definitely.
I
You
see.
you have a sense of perfectionism too?
Yeah, yeah. Just imagine anything that you feel, I probably feel the same. Because I
Mhm,
think on this list, this similar thing where you say we're flowing, I think we're flowing because we get it.
mhm,
We're very similar in a way.
mhm.
How many uh, people are in your family?
Well, so I have like 5 of us that I grew up with, my mom, dad, and then 3 kids, and then my dad is now has a family with 2 kids and my stepmom too. So,
Okay, and you're the middle.
yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get
Are
it.
are you middle as well?
No, I'm not. I'm
Okay.
oldest, but
Okay.
but I'm like an only child, and then also have like two half brothers
Oh, nice.
who are much younger than me.
Mhm.
Like I'm 12 years older than one of them, and then 21 years older than the other. So,
That's
oh
my
hi,
dog.
that's a cat. Oh dog.
Um, so with is your family kind of like, I know for this project, your mom is kind of one of the main stars of your piece, but
Hmm.
do you often incorporate your family into your comedy, or like are they supportive of your career in that?
I would say yes. I'm very interested in connection as just a theme, and I'm extremely interested in people. So I feel like when I do stand up, it's very based in that. My last kind of fringe show was about my dad, so then this one kind of lends itself to my mom. Um, and yeah, I there's I don't know. I'm fascinated with family
Mm-hmm.
and how the dynamics work with family sometimes. The things that we tell each other, I don't know, the things that I guess we find out about our parents as we get older
Hmm. Yeah, that
is
whole like
I
s-
yeah, say
like
it. You got it.
the whole like bursting of the bubble that your parent is actually human and not like this like special human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel that way kind of in this show on my mom's Facebook is it's kind of like the bubble of her burst that she was kind
Mhm.
of a special person a long time ago, but I think I'm slowly finding out that she actually is like a very special person, but in a completely different way than I had
Mhm.
ever thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like wow, like what an incredible woman this woman is. Like
Mhm.
she's done so much, and yeah, it's just to find out more about her. It's very special, I guess.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So it's like that false perception we have of kids of like my parent can do no wrong, and that when it bursts, it's like then you actually get to know who they are as a real human being. And like that I think often in teenhood when it usually bursts for most people, it's like that rebellion of like, oh well now I'm angry that you're not who I thought I was. But as we get into adulthood more, like we can really unearth who the individual is and have like a real relationship with our parents, which is a lot of fun to see.
Yeah, 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 for sure. And like for me, my relationship with my mom was like growing up an only child, and my parents split when I was 9. So I was kind of like my mom's only family in
Mhm.
most of that. So my rebellion was kind of like breaking free from my parents
Yeah.
to kind of find who I was. And then it's like a slow kind of coming back
Mhm.
uh, to creating a different type of relationship.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool to hear about. Well, thank you so much for coming on today and for your time. Is there anything else that you would like our audience to know? I'm just noticing the time we are running out. So, anything about you or your show or your work in comedy in general?
A deep dive into my mom's Facebook. It's it's not the best show in the world. It's a start into a new type of show that I'm trying out in a different medium that I've never done before. So yeah, this is
Oh,
deep
awesome.
dive into my mom's.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for your time. And for those watching, you can come out and support Eric. The festival is running from August 19th to the 22nd. So buy tickets, come see his show, and get to know his mom a little bit better, which is really exciting. Thank you for watching today. Thank you, Eric, for your time. Miigwech, merci, and gracias. And we'll see you all on the next podcast. Have a great day. Bye. Thank you for watching our podcast. Merci, miigwech, gracias. If you like what we're doing, you can support Fringe North and the artists involved in this year's festival financially so that we can continue this work. Visit www.fringenorth.ca to find out more.